Good afternoon. This is TTT Live, Talk City 91.1 FM and TTT Live online on Facebook. I'm Dike Rostant with your TTT News Update. Minister of Finance Colm Imbert is hailing the achievement of a very successful $500 million Republic of Trinidad and Tobago international bond issue. The 10-year bond offer was launched by Credit Suisse internationally on Monday morning with an initial interest rate in the vicinity of 4.75%. The finance minister says 3 hours and 45 minutes later, the bond offer had been oversubscribed by 219%. He further states that a total of $1.66 billion was received in offers from a wide range of high-quality international investment firms, investment funds, and investment banks. The offer book was eventually settled at $500 million at an interest rate of 4.5%. The Minister of Finance describes the achievement of issuing a 10-year $500 million US bond with high-quality investors in less than 4 hours on the international market as tremendous, specifically in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, with depressed oil and gas prices and all of the economic difficulties. Continuing with money, word today that Cabinet did in fact approve $43 million for Carifesta 14 celebrations last year. This according to Minister of Community Development, Culture and the Arts, Dr. Nian Gadsby-Dolly, who sought to clarify inaccurate information on the heels of the Auditor General's 2019 report, which stated there were unaccounted funds for hosting the event. But in an interview with TTT, Minister Gadsby-Dolly explained that $28 million was initially approved in 2018 for pre-Carifesta activities. She added that in July 2019, a supplementary amount was approved by Cabinet, bringing the figure to $43 million.
If the Auditor General comes to the ministry with a budget of $28 million, which it may have been in a previous time, and they are now apprised that there's a Cabinet decision that authorizes a spend of $43 million, then that becomes a non-issue. So clearly, there was some lack of information at the Auditor General's end.
Gadsby-Dolly said because of the COVID-19 emergency period, information pertinent to the Auditor General's report was not accessible. She said had it been, the matter could have easily been addressed.
That the Auditor General indicated that the report as published did not have the benefit of the ministry's responses, not just the Ministry of Culture, but many of the ministries, due to the fact that the COVID stay-home came in between the time where they would usually get the responses from ministries, so that a lot of these queries could be easily dispensed with.
Time now for conversations with HR, courtesy of friends at HRMAT, the Human Resource Management Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, if you as an HR person joins HRMAT, some membership benefits include discounts at various merchants nationwide with the discount card, legal opinions from experts, and access to sample policies and procedures and job descriptions. Now, on the topic of policies and procedures, Ms. Ali-Kerr is the Human Resources Director at Hyatt. And we're saying she's here with us this afternoon. We're saying, hello, ma'am, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Looking for some information. No, in terms of that HR definition of policies and procedures, how would you define it?
So when you think of policies and procedures, the policy is the guiding principle that you give the employee. The procedures is consistent application of the day-to-day policy. So many people use it together, but it's very, very different. So the policy statement is clearly defined. The procedures is how you get to fulfill the policy.
Okay, so
yes.
What you used to implement. And continuing with that, why do we need to have these things stated in black and white, per se?
It's a contract. So at Hyatt, what we do is that we give employees their policies in an employee handbook. So this is really managing the expectations of the employee, understanding that this is our guiding principle. It's important that you do that at the onset of the employee-employer relationship. because it really says that this is what is expected of you. And at the end of the day, there must be a mutual agreement. So it's very critical. And at Hyatt, we do it at orientation and not after orientation. It's important that it's done at orientation.
And I see the sense in that. It doesn't necessarily happen everywhere, but at orientation, while the person is green and fresh and you're giving them information, it's good to know what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do, as opposed to saying, well, you know, you weren't supposed to do that. But
Exactly. And unfortunately, a lot of employers do that. And then they have difficulty managing the expectation because it's seen as an afterthought. So when you say it initially, then everyone is on the same page. Yes.
All right, but is there a difference between the policies and procedures manual and an employee handbook?
Actually, no, there isn't. So at Hyatt, on orientation, you are given an employee handbook. Now, an employee handbook has many different sets of information. So it has the mission, the vision, the purpose, the employer's core values, and then it goes into the policies. And that is given the first day of employment.
Okay, but
so the employee handbook encapsulates all the relevant and important information for the employee at the start of the employee-employer relationship.
Now, with regard to our relationship with COVID-19, do you think that there's, what kind of possible impact COVID-19 may have on policies and procedures? And off the top, I'm thinking about sick leave, childcare options, and the like.
Fortunately, at Hyatt, we have always been very proactive with reference to benefits. We have not had to change significantly our sick leave. What we would have asked in the past is you get a doctor's note if it's more than 2 consecutive days. And with the onset of COVID, that is also now even more critical, especially if someone reports any respiratory symptoms of their ailment. So that has been something that we have sort of focused more on, but that policy has always been established. And that augurs well for us to deal with the pandemic because we have been very proactive with our policies, childcare. If in fact there's any difficulty with childcare, we also allow the employees to bring their children in, understanding the implementation and the implication of not having their child or children in a safe place. So we have really been flexible, and that's important for an employer as well. This is a very fluid environment, so we are required to also be flexible as the employer.
In terms of getting that information out, has the method of communication changed any because of the pandemic?
Presently, we have used every form of communication. So we have a Facebook team page so that we post all our information. So there's a Hyatt team page that we post. We also use other forms of social media. We have an internal communication system. So every possible method. We've also been exploring because of the pandemic. We use Microsoft Teams, we use Zoom as we're using presently. So we've really capitalized on using all forms of communication to ensure that everyone is on the same page.
And we want to thank you for helping us get up to speed a little bit. And this is Mrs. Ali-Kerr of Human Resource Director at the Hyatt. And this has been Conversations with HR. Now, this Thursday, we're looking forward to industrial relations. You don't want to miss that. So we thank everyone at HRMAT, the Human Resources and Management Association of Trinidad and Tobago. And remember, you can join us for live coverage on TTT, Chalk City 91.1 FM, Suite 100.1 FM, Next 99.1 FM, as well as on Facebook at TTT Live Online for all your updates. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of the TTT crew, I'm Dike Rostant. Bye for now.